to years, you maybe did 8 years, a couple of deployments. Obviously, there's a physical fitness level of, there's a level of fitness or physical conditioning and endurance we got to maintain. Training requirements, you may need to do a little extra more at work or outside of work. You know what I'm talking about. So that flat feet could have went from mild to severe, as well as cause secondary issues on top of it. Plantar fasciitis, things in your Achilles tendon. I think it's called Achilles tendonitis. It could develop into shin splints. Knee issues. So that's a mix between service aggravation of something you was already previously identified, ability that was previously identified prior to you going into the military. And then once you get out, where is that disability currently at? Is it still the same? Has it gotten worse? And if it's gotten worse, has it caused secondary issues? That's one type of claim for secondary disability. This is a second tier of secondary VA disabilities. This is pretty much the average type of claim. But the VA, and this is pulled from the M21-1 Adjudication Procedures Manual, wasn't in CFR 38, but hey, here you go. You can screenshot this, look up the reference for yourself. But disabilities are approximately due to or result of a service-connected condition. The increase in the severity of the non-service-connected disability, which is the secondary in which you're trying to claim, is attributed to aggravation by a service-connected disability, and is not natural progression of the non-service-connected disability. So what that means is, so let's say, for example, you're service-connected for your back, and the worse your back gets, it's going to be reflected on just your back. But if it's causing increased sciatica in your legs, both legs, if it's causing seizures or, if it's causing your spine to lock up, if that low back pain that you're already service connected for, if it's going to your cervical area, is it straining that? Is it making it worse outside of, normal conditions? Like if you weren't service connected for your back, would it be affecting sciatica in your legs? Would it be affecting or causing cervical strain, hip strain, whatever case may be? Would it be causing a mental disability? A lot of people get depressed, anxious, whenever they're having any physical issues, because they're not like how they were prior to getting in the military. They're at 100% bill of health. They got in the military, 4 years, 20 years, whatever the case may be. They got out with some disabilities. But in order to claim it's secondary, you got to show how that already service-connected disability is causing that secondary condition. Also, here we got some additional language on secondary disabilities on causation. And this is from the M21-1 Adjudication Manual. It goes a lot. It gets detailed when dealing with veterans, service connection, VA claims process. It's the Bible of the VA, that VA Rater, the Veterans Benefits Administration, everything. So, on here, you can screenshot this, look at it later. But service connection on a secondary basis requires showing of causation. A showing of causation requires that secondary disability shown to be approximately due to the result of a service-connected disability. To establish causation, the primary disability does not need to be service-connected. Let me repeat that again. This is another form of secondary. That to establish causation, the primary disability need not be service-connected or even diagnosed at the time the secondary condition is incurred. And here's an example. I ain't going to get into it. No, I'll get into it a little bit. Service connection was granted for back disability with radiculopathy, sciatica, not fucking doctor. Come on. Effective in 2015. Credible evidence shows that the veteran had a 20-year history of back pain and progressively worsened sciatica dating back roughly 2001. With a formal diagnosis of sciatica wasn't made until 2010. The The veteran claimed service connection for shoulder disability in 2016, stating his early symptoms of sciatica caused him to lose balance, fall, and tear his rotator cuff in 2008. He provided a medical opinion linking his rotator cuff tear to the fall and to the fall sensory impairment and difficulty was due to early symptoms of sciatica. Result: the medical opinion and evidence establishes that the causation for the rotator cuff tear and the shoulder was due to sciatica. The requirement for service connection on a secondary basis is satisfied, meaning granted, meaning where the benefits at. Whenever you, like I keep telling y'all, the medical evidence is everything. Whenever you're putting in direct or secondary, especially for secondary, you gotta show the causation. The causation doesn't need, like with this being said, the causation doesn't need to be shown post a service connection. Like, I was service connected for tinnitus, but I've always had insomnia due to that tinnitus following my second deployment. But this was back in 2014. I didn't put in my claim until 2017. And I didn't get service connected for insomnia until 2020. But because, you got to do a little research, because this VA, they be playing games, trying to take our benefits. But I was diagnosed with insomnia prior to. Not diagnosed. I had early signs and symptoms of insomnia around the same time I was having issues with tinnitus. But I didn't have a formal diagnosis of tinnitus until roughly a month or 2 months prior to separating from the military. Always had hearing issues, not sure why, but hey, the tinnitus is whatever the fuck, y'all know what it is. Insane. We got sleep apnea. For those of y'all who are service connected for sleep apnea, there's other secondary disabilities that can be spawned from sleep apnea, such as nocturnia, or this right here. I'm not a doctor, but it's pretty much frequent urination at night. If you're waking up in the middle of the night to go urinate, or even there's another area, up there you go. You get anywhere from 10, 20, 30, 40%, depending on the severity of your symptoms. We got urinary frequency, 40%. Daytime void interval less than 1 hour, or awakening to void 5 or more times per night. And then it goes on, 20 and the 10% criteria for urinary frequency. In order to show this, you definitely need to be complaining to your doctor, as well as to show, to have proof of your urinary frequency. Download the app, diary, log it down. The more medical evidence you have when you submit this claim, the stronger it makes your claim for service connection on a secondary basis. And with that being said, hopefully this clears up anything with all the VA disability benefits for those veterans who are trying to seek pre-service aggravation for any VA disability claims. Pretty much any injury or disability that was identified on your entry exam. If it's gotten worse due to your military service, by all means, you can put in a pre-service aggravation claim. Definitely, I recommend doing a personal statement when you submit that VA claim. For VA claims for secondary conditions, there's two different types of secondaries. One that is being caused, as well as one that is aggravating a non-service connected disability.